You wake up, check your phone, scroll through other people's lives, and without realizing it, a quiet feeling appears in the background. It's not dramatic. It's not even always painful. It's just a subtle dissatisfaction, like something is missing. Even when things go well, even when you achieve something you once wanted, that feeling returns. It changes shape, but it never fully disappears. More than 2,500 years ago, Gautama Buddha observed this exact pattern. Not just in a few people, but in everyone. He didn't describe it as a personal failure or a modern problem. He described it as a universal condition of human existence. What you are experiencing is not unique, and it's not accidental. It has a cause. Buddha called it dukkha, often translated as suffering, but that word is too strong and too weak at the same time. It's not just pain. It's the subtle sense that things are never quite enough. Even pleasure contains it. Even success contains it. Even love can contain it, because underneath all of it is instability. Think about how desire works. You want something, a better job, more money, a relationship, recognition. Your mind tells you, once I get this, I'll finally be happy. And when you get it, there is a moment of satisfaction. But it doesn't last. The mind quickly moves the target. Now it wants something more, something else, something better. The cycle continues. Buddha saw this clearly. He realized that happiness based on conditions is always fragile. If your happiness depends on things going your way, then your peace is constantly at risk. Because life does not stay still. Everything changes. Every feeling fades. Every situation shifts. This is the first reason you're still unhappy. You are chasing permanence in a world that is fundamentally impermanent. Everything you experience is in motion. Your emotions, your thoughts, your relationships, your body, your circumstances. Even the things you love most are changing, moment by moment. But the mind resists this truth. It wants to hold on. It wants things to stay the same. It wants pleasure to last forever and pain to disappear instantly. That resistance creates tension. Not because change is painful, but because you fight against it. Imagine holding water in your hands. The tighter you squeeze, the faster it slips away. Happiness works the same way. The more you try to control and possess it, the more unstable it becomes. The second reason you're still unhappy is attachment. Attachment is not just love or preference. It's the belief that you need something in order to be okay. It's the silent thought, I cannot be happy without this. This can be attached to people, outcomes, identity, or even your own thoughts about how life should be. When you are attached, you are constantly vulnerable. If you get what you want, you fear losing it. If you don't get it, you feel incomplete. Either way, your peace is dependent on something outside your control. Buddha didn't say you shouldn't enjoy life or care about things. He pointed to the danger of clinging. There is a difference between experiencing something fully and trying to own it permanently. You can enjoy a beautiful moment without demanding that it lasts forever. You can love someone deeply without turning that love into fear of loss. But the mind rarely does this naturally. It moves from experience to possession almost instantly. The third reason you're still unhappy is the illusion of the self. You believe there is a fixed you at the center of everything. A solid identity that must be protected, improved, validated. This you has a story, who you are, what you deserve, how others should see you. And much of your suffering comes from defending this story. When someone criticizes you, it hurts because it threatens that identity. When you fail, it feels heavy because it doesn't match the image you have of yourself. When you compare yourself to others, it creates tension because your identity feels less complete. But Buddha observed something radical. When you look closely, this self is not stable. It is a collection of thoughts, memories, emotions, and perceptions that are constantly changing. There is no fixed core. There is no permanent identity. This doesn't mean you don't exist. It means what you call you is a process, not a solid object, and yet, you treat it like something permanent. You build your life around protecting and satisfying it. That creates endless pressure. Because you are trying to stabilize something that cannot be stabilized. The fourth reason you're still unhappy is unconscious thinking. Your mind is constantly generating thoughts, and most of them go unquestioned. You believe them automatically. If a thought says, "I'm not good enough," you feel it as truth. If a thought says, "I need this to be happy," you start chasing it, but thoughts are not facts. They are events in the mind. Buddha's insight was not just philosophical. It was practical. He taught that by observing your thoughts without immediately reacting to them, you begin to see their nature. They arise, they stay for a moment, and they pass away. When you are unaware, thoughts control you. When you are aware, you see them as temporary. This is where the possibility of freedom begins, because if your suffering is created by how you relate to thoughts, not just by external events, then changing that relationship changes everything. The fifth reason you're still unhappy is constant craving. Craving is different from desire. Desire can be natural and simple. Craving has urgency. It feels like something is missing right now, and it must be filled. This can be craving for pleasure, for distraction, for validation, for certainty. Even when you are resting, the mind looks for the next thing. The next video, the next message, the next achievement. But craving keeps you in a state of lack. It constantly tells you that this moment is not enough, that something else is needed, so even when nothing is wrong, you feel restless. Buddha didn't say the world is the problem. He pointed to this constant mental movement that prevents you from being at peace with what is already here. If you look closely, there are moments in your life where nothing is missing. But the mind rarely stays there. It moves away, searching, comparing, wanting, and that movement creates dissatisfaction. So what is the solution? Buddha didn't offer a quick fix. He offered understanding. He taught that when you see clearly how suffering is created, you naturally begin to let go of the patterns that create it. Not through force, but through insight. When you truly understand impermanence, you stop expecting things to last forever. When you see the danger of attachment, you begin to hold things more lightly. When you realize the self is not fixed, you stop defending it so aggressively. When you observe your thoughts, you stop being controlled by them. When you notice craving, you stop feeding it automatically. This doesn't happen instantly. It's a gradual shift. When you feel unhappy, instead of immediately trying to escape it, you can look at it. What is the mind doing right now? Is it resisting something? Is it clinging to something? Is it believing a thought? That simple observation creates space. And in that space, something unexpected appears. Not excitement, not intense pleasure, but a quiet kind of peace, a peace that doesn't depend on everything being perfect, a peace that comes from not fighting reality. You've been taught to look for happiness in the future, in achievement, in relationships, in circumstances. But Buddha pointed in a different direction. He pointed inward, not to find something new, but to understand what is already happening, because the reason, but even small moments of awareness can change your experience. Thanks for watching. Our channel is new and needs your support. In our channel you can find many videos on the history and philosophical teachings of Buddhism. Please subscribe to our channel to support the teachings of Buddha on YouTube.